Good afternoon, Colorado Mesa University, and welcome back to another episode of Crossing the Line. I am your host, Matt Entrikin, and with me, I have my partner, Sean Sullivan. Sean, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing well. Great to be back. Week 2, very stellar. A lot of stuff to talk about, and it's time just to dive right into it, none of these semantics.
Yes, sir.
Showtime, baby.
And, well, it was a roller coaster of a week, man. So
it was.
That is why today we are going to be doing our highs of the week and our lows of the week. So, Sean, I'm going to start things off with you. Tell me, what was your high and what was your low?
Well, I got a couple highs throughout the week. It was a very exciting week, even starting out on Thursday night with a very weird but pretty, for the most part, good game of the Washington football team, the New York Giants. I thought Taylor Heineke shined really bright. I think he's a very sleeper, underrated kind of guy. He did well in the playoffs last year, debuting against a very, very good defense in Tampa Bay last playoffs. He played well again this Thursday, going 34-46, 336 yards, and 2 tutter butters in a win over the New York football Giants. The Giants, obviously, not that great of a team. Another high for me, the Arizona Cardinals, starting off flying 2-0. Kyler Murray, I know it's the way too early MVP predictions, but he's one of my front runners right now. Has over 400 yards of that game through the air, 31 yards on the ground with the rush touchdown, 4 total TDs for Kyler Murray. If that's not a high of the week, I don't know what is. MVP front runner already, Kyler Murray. Matt, I'm going to send it over to you now. What were your highs of the week?
All right, Sean, I'll give you my highs and lows. First, I want to address yours. Going back to Thursday Night Football, it was a great game, very exhilarating, but I will say, still, Washington football team versus New York Giants. My favorite part of the night was Buffalo Wild Wings buy one, get one free deal on the chicken wings. Just want to throw that out there. That was one of my highs, but not the high. My high for this week was seeing Peyton and Eli Manning starring on ESPN2's coverage of Monday Night Football for the second week in a row. Sean, we were talking about this before the show started. One of ESPN's best ideas to date. I love this combo. I would love to even see him do the primary broadcast, but these two, they're such a good combination of character and personality. Peyton Manning's the guy. He's such a good conversation, such a good personality for TV. Impeccable decision. Now my low for this week, this was very sad. On Monday Night Football. So there was a bettor who had a 16-game parlay. And he was right with the first 15 games. And if the Lions had won on Monday, he would have won $726,959. $700K for that 16-game parlay. And sadly, after things were looking good for the Lions, going up 17-14 at halftime, the Lions went on to have 2 turnovers. Packers went on a, 21 unanswered points, and they ended up losing 35-17.
That was a lot. That's a bad beat right there. I don't care who you are, Lions fans, Packers fans. I heard about that too. I was pulling for the Lions. That would just been crazy. And back to the Monday night telecast, we were talking about it off screen. I think it's just completely genius. It is obviously people have been clamoring and asking for Manning to be on a broadcast crew at some point throughout the year, and to finally have him, that dynamic they have, the duality, I think it's fantastic. They have some guests in there. They had Pat McAfee on there, Brett Favre, which, Brett Favre took quite some serious licks in his playing days, and not to knock him at all, but he did okay for what they asked for him. But I could totally love the telecast. As for my lows of the week, it's got to be the Miami Dolphins. You have such high expectations for them. Tua, the paper man, gets yet another injury, and you probably agree with this a little bit, that Tua gets the weirdest injuries, I think. Obviously, as a quarterback, if you get hit in the ribs, that stinks. He's out with a rib injury week to week now. But I still think it's a weird injury. Back in college, he broke his hip as a 22-year-old kid. You break your hip. Maybe you should get Tua a life alert instead of a starting QB position. What are your quick thoughts about the Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa himself?
Yeah, quite the heartbreaker, Tron. And I ask you this question. What is the one thing that Tua has in common with tissue paper?
They tear.
Well, that and he's soft.
Oh!
So, obviously worst case scenario for the Miami Dolphins, a team that was looking so great not too long ago with the addition of Brian Flores, and they go on that huge winning streak at the end of the season not too long ago, and you were excited about Tua. I agreed with them drafting him, but now things are just looking down for the boys in Florida.
I wouldn't say I'm quite sounding the alarms yet with the Miami Dolphins, but it is time for us to sound the alarms on a team. And Matt, I'm going to send it over to you to start things out. Who are you sounding the alarm for after week 2 in the NFL?
All right, Sean. Ding, ding. I am sounding the alarm on Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, sir. Let me tell you something. Yes, they wanted to address the rushing game over the offseason. They did. They have a pretty good rushing attack. On the defensive side, that is. On the offensive side, they are dead last in rushing yards. And the offensive line is not doing anything to help out Najee Harris. O-line, one of the worst in the league. Rushing attack, one of the worst in the league. And when we look at Ben Roethlisberger, the man's getting old, 39 years old. He's 28th in QBR. He's 18th in passing yards, 27th in completion percentage. He got sacked 3 times and got hit 10 more times. And now we're learning that he has another injury to the pectoral, which is where Steelers fans are also injured, but they're injured in the heart. And that's just what it's going to be like all season. Things aren't looking good for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not even confident they're going to be making the playoffs, especially considering they have the toughest remaining schedule in the NFL.
The AFC North is no laughing matter, that's for sure. That's a very tough division. But for me, I'm not quite sounding off the alarms on the Pittsburgh Steelers quite yet, just because they have a very, very good coach in Mike Tomlin. If there's anyone that can get them back on track, I think it is Mike Tomlin. And Ben Roethlisberger, he gets hurt every single year. This is nothing new. So I'm not quite sounding alarms off if I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But as I just slipped there, I am sounding the alarms on the Indianapolis Colts. And keeping with the theme of very injury-prone quarterbacks, I think the crowning jewel himself, Carson Wentz, is the king of injury-prone quarterbacks. He goes down and he hurts and sprains both of his ankles on one play. And I get Aaron Donald's the most destructive man in the NFL. Obviously, you don't like seeing anybody getting hurt in the NFL. It's their livelihood here. But, man, you pay the house for Carson Wentz, and he gets hurt. He got hurt in the preseason when he probably didn't even get touched in the offseason. Gets hurt in the practice in the preseason. Barely just starts week 1. Doesn't play well against Seattle at all, in my opinion. And then you go week 2. You're down 0-2, and their schedule does not get easier. They have Tennessee next week, then they have Miami and Baltimore. So if you're a Colts fan, I'm sweating it out pretty well. You have a very hard schedule. I could see them very easily going 1-4 or 0-5 in their first 5 games. Their backup quarterback, they drafted Sam Ehlinger out of Texas. He gets hurt. So now you're down on Jacob Eason, the second-year man out of Washington. Big arm on Jacob Eason, but a little turnover prone. Hasn't seen much of the field at all. Frank Wright, unfortunately, I think if they have another poor season or this season goes poorly, I think he may be on the hot seat here to go. They have a good defense. Haven't played very well. Let's see if Frank Wright can turn it around. But if I'm a Colts fan, I'm sounding the alarm right now.
Yeah, now, and I will say that if Tua is tissue paper, he's like the rough Kroger brand. Yeah. And Carson Wentz, he's the expensive stuff. He's super soft. I mean, it's tough to be softer than that guy.
He's Charmin Ultra Soft right now.
Charmin Ultra Soft. That's our only endorsement we're going to give them today. But, all right, we're going to move on, guys. Topic number 3, new segment for Crossing the Line. We call it Bet the House. This week, we're going to give our most confident picks for a team that we think is a best bet to win this week. Sean, start us off. Who do you think is going to win?
I got 2 teams in mind right now that I'm betting the house on. There's 2 games I was scrolling through the week 3 slate, and there's 2 games that are really sticking out for me quite a bit. Is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Los Angeles Rams versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 2 very competitive games. Obviously not sort of necessarily an easy bet as opposed to like a Broncos over the Jets, which I'm very confident they're going to win. But I want to get a little bit more of a different game in there. And I think this is a huge game for Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, as we were saying, Pittsburgh, solid team. They have a very good defense. Joe Burrow needs to clean up the turnovers. He had 3 interceptions last week. I think, though, if Joe Burrow can be efficient, do the thing, hand the ball off to Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow makes the throws to Jamar Chase and crew like they can. I believe that Cincinnati Bengals can beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh right now, the 4.5-point favorite. But I like the Bengals in this game, and in a little bit of an upset, I think if Joe Burrow does his job, he can get the win. And as for my second game with the Rams and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we're possibly looking at the NFC Championship game right here already in Week 3. Like I said before, it's way too early to jump to these things right now. The Los Angeles Rams, high-flying offense. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, probably one of the most well-rounded teams in sports right now with a very good defense and a fantastic offense with Tom Brady and crew. So I'm suspecting a shootout here. And You know, I think this is something that us NFL fans have been looking for a while. Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady shootout. Let's see what happens. I'm going to throw it actually to the Los Angeles Rams. I think they may get a sneaky win here over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You seem surprised by that, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm betting the house on the Rams right now.
I'm very surprised at you. Isn't it a cardinal sin to bet against Tom Brady?
Yes.
You're betting against Tom Brady.
Yes, I am.
What about the Los Angeles Rams makes you think that they are going to top Tom Brady, the champion, the GOAT, greatest of all time?
Well, there's no arguing that Tom Brady is the GOAT, but the Los Angeles Rams have, in my opinion, the defensive GOAT, and Aaron Donald. Obviously, they're going to game plan around him, but if there's anyone that could break a game and just totally destroy a game, it is Aaron Donald, and I mean destroy a game in the best way possible. He needs to get 3 sacks on Tom Brady, which he can. Tom Brady, as we talked about last week, not a mobile guy, so that's the only reason I think that the Rams can pull it off. Obviously, Stafford can do his thing, doesn't turn over the ball over, and Aaron Donald gets pressure on Tom Brady. It can be a long week, or a long game, I'm sorry, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay. So let me just get this straight. If you're betting the house, you are betting on a second-year quarterback on the Bengals, and you're betting on Matthew Stafford.
You're correct.
Sure you want to do that?
I may lose my house this week, but hey, I'm betting the house anyway.
He's betting the house anyway.
I may be homeless as of next week, but hey, I still think it's possible. I think Joe Burrow's a really good quarterback. I think the Bengals are actually kind of a pretty solid team overall. Obviously, they had a tough loss last week, but I think they can piece it together. I think they have the talent necessary, so I think they can get it done. And also, I'm not entirely a believer in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense like we were talking about. Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool, they're solid wide receivers. A lot of distraction. There's always a lot of noise around the Pittsburgh Steelers, so I think the noise could get to them this week. Who are you betting the house on, though?
All right, Sean. I'm going to be betting the house on Kyler, a.k.a. Killer Murray, and the Arizona Cardinals. They have been high-flying the first 2 weeks. I know they had a close win against the Minnesota Vikings, but this is the only game that I would be shocked if it goes the other direction. The Arizona Cardinals, I mean, everything's been working for them on the offensive side, and when you look at their opponent in Trevor Lawrence in the Jacksonville Jaguars, there's just too many questions, too many holes. Trevor Lawrence has still been trying to work things out, and that terrible offensive line is going to have a big trouble against Chandler Jones in that defensive line over there in Arizona. The Jags are 29th in yards given up, and the Cardinals are second in total yards gained. And so this, I mean, to me, just seems like a recipe for a Cardinal win.
I agree. Not much to refute there with that one. The Jacksonville Jaguars are not very good. I guess the one question I could have for you then is, let's say, you know, obviously these first 3 weeks have not gone outstanding for the Jacksonville Jaguars, or the first 2 weeks, I should say. I agree with you. I don't think the Cardinals are going to have much of a challenge here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, I don't want to jinx them or anything like that. But I guess my one question for you could be about this game is, Urban Meyer used to winning in all of his entire tenure at Ohio State. He lost only 7 games. Do you think Urban Meyer lasts after this season with this UFC job open?
I really want to say yes. I really want to believe that a top college coach can go to the NFL and make things happen. I don't want Urban Meyer to turn into Nick Saban, man. So I think he's going to stick it out, despite all the doubts. But I think he's going to stick it out.
I don't think the USC job's tempting enough for him to quite leave and jump ship for that quite yet. But you never know, especially with Urban Meyer. He likes to win. That's what we do know about that. And Urban Meyer, obviously head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I want a new topic yet again, a little more fun topic here. We were discussing back and forth of which coach would make the best actor, as we know, is Emmy, or is it the Oscars, Emmy season? Emmy season. So Matt, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Of which actor do you think would make, or sorry, which coach do you think would make the best actor?
Yeah. Since that new show Ted Lasso won Best Comedy, which is of course about a football coach that gets a job as a soccer coach, something like that. We wanted to stay in that spirit, and so we're gonna pick the best football coach that could become an actor. And for me, it's going to be the Cleveland Browns head coach, Kevin Stefanski. Yes, that good-looking man that's turning the tide over there in Cleveland. Yes, look, he's got the looks. The man, he could be Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. He could play the bad guy in Avatar. He could be the rogue double agent guy in The Departed, whatever. I mean, you just look at him and he's got that sharp jaw. He's got those eyes that just, he's got it all. Full package guy. However, I will say he will need a name change. Kevin Stefanski is not exactly a good stage name, Hollywood name, so he's going to need something a little bit cooler, something like Rock Hudson. What I propose, Kurt Stonewood.
Kirk Stonewood.
Yes, sir.
What, Kevin Steele, maybe?
Kevin Steele. Damn, that's good. That's good.
See, Tom Cruise, actually, when you mentioned Tom Cruise, is a good segue into the coach I think would make your actor because of similar height. And my choice would be Rams head coach Sean McVay. And if there's anyone already in the NFL right now that looks like they could be a football coach on a CW show about football, it is Sean McVay. Obviously, handsome man, got the blue steel going on. Good stage name as well as Sean McVay. I don't think you need to necessarily change it to Kirk Stonewood or anything like that. And also, he's got the in. He's already a head coach in Los Angeles, right by Hollywood. He needs to drive a little, like 45 minutes or whichever direction from Inglewood that LA is in.
That's a good point.
And then all of a sudden, bing, bang, boom. You got your new 007. As we know, the one dude, he's probably going to leave. Give Sean McVay a call. He's a leader, got a good voice, got a good presence about him. My Emmy goes to Sean McVay and his Los Angeles Rams. I think he'd make a great actor.
I respect it. Both these guys, young, good-looking. Sean McVay, though, I mean, he kind of has a little bit of bug eyes, I feel like. They're pretty big.
He's definitely very
intense, throw me off
but maybe he could be a villain or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah, I could see that. Evil genius.
Evil
Sean
genius,
McVay.
yes.
Yeah. All right, guys. We are almost through with today. We got our very last segment. It is the classic shout-outs of the day. Sean, tell me what you got. Who you shouting out?
Well, in the spirit of post-game snacks we were talking about a little bit last week, I'm giving it to Mott's Fruit Snacks. They are the best fruit snacks on the market, 10 times better than Welch's, 10 times better than any of the off-brand, the Great Value or the Kroger brands, whatever. Mott's Fruit Snacks are the supreme fruit snacks. They're great for a little after-sports victory celebration, a little fruity delight in Mott's Fruit Snacks. I think they're superior. And in the spirit of post-game snacks, I sent it over to Mott's. And now I'm going to send it over to Matt for your shout-out. What's your shout-out?
Good call, Sean. Good call. What I'm going to be shouting out, there's not much to shout out about the Green Bay Packers, but I'm going to give a little nod to the head trainer over for the Green Bay Packers. So during the Packers game this past week, Aaron Jones lost a necklace that contained his father's ashes in the little emblem thing, and he lost it somewhere in the end zone. And then their trainer, Brian Flea Engel, searched the field until 1:45 a.m. until he finally found this necklace that had Aaron Jones' father's ashes in them. That's commitment and that's loyalty. So I'm glad to say that somebody in the Packers organization still has a little bit of those two qualities. Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, man, oh, man. Give that man a raise, that's what I have to say. That's a clutch find. It's a very important find.
Good on you, Brian. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us today. That's the conclusion of everything we have for you. We're going to see you next week on Crossing the Line.
Peace.
Keep it real.